Hi, and welcome to another free.volous episode. It's been a while since I said this. It's been an eventful afternoon trying to set everything up back again, but anyway, I'm sort of back, taking advantage of being kind of in a more peaceful mindset and willing to record. Here I am today. I'm gonna do a get ready with me, letting you know how life has been, why I've been away, that kind of stuff. And yeah, if you're new here, first of all, hi, welcome. And second, how did you made it through the algorithm and stumble upon my videos? And third, hi, my name is Solange. I'm a 44-year-old actress from Lisbon, Portugal. I love beauty stuff. I love talking about beauty stuff and my experiences with the products that I buy. That's basically the gist of this channel, very old school, because my experience with any kind of beauty product can only be subjective. I try to give you as much information as possible, meaning I talk a lot and I like science-based information. I'm not here for the fear-mongering. So that's about it, what you can get from me. Everything else you'll see as we get along or as we go along. So today, as I said, I'm going to do sort of get ready with me, just applying some of the products that I got throughout this year, these several months that I've been really enjoying, and letting you know what I'm using while I'm using it. And I'll chat with you about what's been happening in my life, I guess, if that's all right with you. Everything that I'm gonna show or mention will be linked in my blogs down below. There's an English one with more, European kind of links. There's a Portuguese one with more Portuguese market directed links. Maybe sometime I'll eliminate the second one just because it used to make sense to have them both, but now not as much. Anyway, let's get into this before I lose my nerve again. I don't do much in terms of prepping with primers and stuff unless it's necessary for some specific case. I focus on my everyday wear, and for that I'm just relying on good skincare that matches my needs and a good sunscreen. That's what I've done today, and I'm gonna go in straight with foundation. I'm gonna use the Urban Decay Face Bond foundation. If you remember a while ago when it was announced, I was really curious about it because it is meant for oily skin, which we don't see that much of. So I was really curious, and the other thing was they cater to olive undertones, even in lighter, in the lighter range, which I was very interested in because I am olive undertone. So yeah, I ended up buying 2 shades because I knew, sadly, now that Urban Decay is back to being somewhat interesting, in my opinion, it has left Portugal, at least in store. It left Sephora. I can't find it anywhere else. So I will always have to buy it online. You can get these if you have the same problem as I do. You can get these now through Beauty Bay, Cult Beauty, and I don't know if Look Fantastic maybe, but yeah. And I'm gonna mix 13 and 17. I knew I was gonna go between those two, and I was absolutely right. I'm mostly a 13, but I need a peppering of 17. So let's get on with our little chat. What has been happening? I don't know, last time I recorded a video, I didn't bother to go and check the dates and all that stuff, but last time I recorded for you, I was close to starting, or I had already taken on a project, a big project of dubbing direction. If you don't know, I'm an actress, I'm a voice actress, and I also do directing, dubbing directing in this case, which entails, if you don't know, basically you're the person who kind of knows the project, or at least the show that you're dubbing the best. You're in charge of somewhat adapting the text after the scripts, after they've been translated to Portuguese or to your language, and then you're in charge of the casting, so getting the names and the voices so that the client can approve, suggesting them. Of course, client has the last word. And then you go into studio and you record, and you're there with the actors and the sound tech in kind of a collaborative session, kind of guiding people through their performances and all of that, whilst making sure everything is lip syncing, which is something that is quite important. We usually do mostly, sadly in Portugal, for children's shows. We don't have a huge culture of dubbing, although in terms of accessibility, we should have, especially now with the platforms and everything being digital and being able to turn on and off and opt in and out. But we don't have that culture. But this was a huge project of an actual non-kid show with a huge cast, very, very, very strict deadlines that were too close to call, in my opinion, because it was a worldwide launch. Every country at the same time would release the show, and in that kind of situation, you don't have lots of you don't usually have great deadlines overall, but with these you have extra pressure because you're not working with the final materials. The materials will be finalized kind of around the time when you have stopped dubbing or you have entered the phase of mixing. So loads of things coming back and you have to re-record and stuff like that. It's very time-consuming, mind-consuming, emotionally exhausting. I love doing it, but it is very, very, it takes a toll on you. And yeah, I was very lucky to have that, to be able to do it, but I can understand how my body feels after taking such a beating. That was a very, very intense thing. Too many people, too little time, too many people to manage, and wanting to take the time to make it really good, you know. But anyway, I was swept in by that, which was really a lot of fun, but at the same time heavy. And because, as usual, these things fall on your lap right on the edge of starting the pre-production and all of that, I had already booked my usual traditional 4 days in London, which I usually do. If you don't know me, the best way to describe me is if there are parallel universes out there, there is one parallel universe where I am living my best life, being a musical theatre actress in London, and making my, paying my rent from that and not struggling from it. That's that's kind of the goal. That would be the goal. And yeah, I love going to London just to dip my toes into what's being done there and all of that, even because in Portugal we don't have lots of, especially musical theatre, we don't have much of that. So I'm using the Tower 28. I knew I would forget the Tower 28 concealer. Ever since I got this, couldn't put it down. If you're in Europe, I can only get this through Revolve. If you find some other other retailer that sells Tower 28, and the actual collection from Tower 28, because Cult Beauty has Tower 28, has had them for years, but they don't update. They don't have the concealer, for instance. I don't know what's up with that, but if you know any other European retailer, let me know. But yeah, that's where I get it. And as soon as I started using I stopped using everything else. It is an excellent, excellent concealer. It is creamy, but it's elastic. It doesn't crease on me. It gives me enough coverage. I need coverage. I want coverage when it comes to concealers. I have loads of blemishes. I've had 30 years of acne. Yes, I've tried it all. And yeah, and I have my hyperpigmentation, my melasma. So I like to be able to cover whatever I want to cover. And this gives me that, that possibility, which I'm very grateful for. So, and it's a beautiful finish, I can use this as a foundation if I want to. And I do use it as a foundation sometimes. And I actually love it. It looks so natural. never creases, you know. I don't do the big V's under the eyes or anything, but yeah. But anyway, London. Love going to London because I go there quite frequently. I'm lucky enough in that sense. I don't have to go on a very tight schedule, run around to go to the spots. I like to revisit some places, and other than that, I have a very chill time. And I just go and watch shows in the evening. That's what I do. I save up to watch a few shows. Recommendation, absolute recommendation, absolute. One of my all-time favorite shows ever, musical shows that I've watched, is Hadestown. I watched this year and I was floored. I was sobbing, I think 20 minutes in, and I only stopped crying at the end of the show because it's beautiful. It's not a comedy, it's a tragedy. It's based on Greek myths, Greek mythology, especially Orpheus and Eurydice. But it's, you know, it's reimagined in a completely different context, and the story is retold in a way, and it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, the music is very, this is an American show, so the music is very folksy, gospel-y at times, and swingy, jazzy. So it's right up my alley. I absolutely adored it. And the staging is incredible. The actors was really good. Everything was just, I couldn't recommend it more. In my opinion, it's one of the best things to watch in London right now. I know for sure that they'll be there at least until February next year. I'll try and watch it again. I know, what do you want from me? I try and watch it again because I really loved it, and I would hate to only have watched it once. I'm one of those people. I've watched Hamilton twice now also, so, you know, I'm one of those people. If I can, I will repeat some shows. It's kind of a balance between the the FOMO and at the same time really wanting to relive that amazing experience. And yeah. But anyway, that's the only show I think that is still there, and I actually think it's one of the best I've ever seen. So there you go. Other than that, of course, I went shopping. I got Flair's father figure. It's the only purchase that I did in a high-end kind of context. It's at Selfridges. I went to all the shops, of course, but I ended up not buying anything except for, you know, drugstore, high street products from e.l.f. mainly, because I really love e.l.f. And again, you can only get it, you can't get it in store in Portugal, you can only get it online, and I just took my time and played with the testers and all that. And I got a few blushes and some other things. I really, really like e.l.f. So super happy I was able to get a few products from the brand there and see them in person before, you know, before risking it. And then what else? Oh, the other new thing that I did in when I went to London was I visited Richmond upon Thames, which was a suggestion of a friend of mine. Thank you for the suggestion, Sophia. And I had an amazing time. She told me, listen, it's beautiful. If you watch Ted Lasso, that's where the show is set. And I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. But usually, you know, when it comes to movies and shows, yes, they select certain locations. Sometimes they're very far apart and they make them look like they're very close to each other and stuff like that. And also they curate and they manicure everything to make it look a bit different and a bit more, in this case, more cutesy and romanticized. That's what I thought. Well, let me tell you, she told me, no, you go and see because it's overall a beautiful town. And I got there and I was floored. It's absolutely stunning. Yes, you can see the locations where they filmed, the most famous locations where they film Ted Lasso, which were the little bench by the phone booth with a park behind it, and it right in front of it you do have the pub and the Ted Lasso street where he supposedly lives. everything is there on the same little area. It's very easy to find, but the rest of Richmond is absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful town, and they have a huge boardwalk by the river that extends for a long walk, and you have loads of greenery, very wild greenery. It's not too manicured, you know, it's not too fancy, and it feels delightful. Again, would live there. But as you can imagine, it's a very bougie area. It's for rich people only. We are only allowed to visit. But I had a great time. I spent a few hours there and I loved it. So that was London. Then I came back to finish, because this was 4 days between that big work thing. Oh, someone is screaming. Please hold. Okay, sorry, somebody was screaming outside and I had to close the window, and now I forgot where I was. Oh, I was going to tell you that I had already booked those 4 days in London before I got that job. So it was in the middle of the job. So I went to London, then came back. It was fine. It was with a weekend and a holiday in there. Nothing was lost. But yeah, and then I came back, I finished the job. And Kosas, this is the Cloud Set powder. This I got from London Sephora. I was lying, I got this too. I really like this powder, actually. Really like it. I don't feel like I need it, because this foundation is quite matte, and today my skin is not excessively oily, but I'm gonna use this just to diffuse and give me a bit more of a blurring finish, but I wouldn't need it. Today I wouldn't need it, but usually I use it very, very frequently. I already have a little dent on the top of here, if you can see it. But yeah, I came back, I finished the job, and then I fell into a slump. This brings a bigger conversation, which is my job, dubbing, voice acting, is endangered right now by AI. It's probably going to disappear within the near future. And we've been having, over a year now, we've been having a lot less work. It's still doable because we make a living out of this. It's not having fun and going and doing a couple of things here and there. We make a living off of this. So it's really worrisome when you don't have enough. And it dwindled down and it stabilized at a very, very thin amount of work. So sometimes I have these peaks of work when I have directing mostly, but other than that, we haven't been having loads of work to do, which I mean, when you've done a whole career on this, and you have to start looking at your life again and thinking maybe I have to start over again doing something else. It's heavy. So when that big peak of work ended and I went back to the slumpy, low amount of workload, I fell into a rut, as I would, because it's me, you know, mental health problems. So yeah, I was very low. So instead of taking advantage of a bit more free time to record for you and stuff like that, I just couldn't move, basically. I was in a depressive state, let's call it that. In the meantime, this I've decanted when I went on work to Barcelona. This is the NYX Marshmallow Setting Spray. I like it. It smells like cakes. People with allergies or sensitivity to perfume, you will not like this. I really like it, and I'm fine with it, so. I love the smell of it. It's very cakey. It's very cakey. Anyway, during that time when I was a bit low, I went out to work, of course. I was with friends and stuff like that. I had to have surgery. So what happened was, I've had gallstones for a long time, since 2018, 2019. But the doctors that found the gallstones, because they were from another area, which was my gynecologist, she just told me, hey, you have gallstones. You may want to have that checked one day, and then proceeded to take care of other things. And not much importance was given to the gallstones by any of my doctors. So I was kind of like, okay, it's something you live with. Maybe I'll have problems later down the line when I'm older. I forget that I'm already old, right? So finally, last year I had surgery to take some fibroids out, which was great. And my gynecologist, which is a different one, had me have new ultrasounds. She saw the gallstones and she sat down with me finally and told me, listen, you have two ways about this. One is waiting for the gallstones to clog something, and then you go to the emergency room and you have to remove your gallbladder through emergency surgery, which is fine. Most people go through that and it ends up fine for most people, but it doesn't always go peachy for everybody, and you can get problems because something is clogged that shouldn't be, and time is of the essence in these situations. Or you can preemptively remove your gallbladder. And I was kind of like, oh cool, I just got out of a freaking surgery, now I have to do another one. Let me think about that later. This was last year. RMS, this is the blush in Maiden's Blush. This is a beautiful, beautiful color. I love it. And I'm going to use it as a base because I want to use another blush. I'm not in bronzer kind of mood, although I've been really liking the Mario liquid bronzer. But anyway, this was last year, as I said. So everything went fine. I never had loads of problems with my gallbladder. I just had some discomfort after eating something heavy, you know. I had a bit of discomfort, a bit of pain. I went to sleep, a very mild pain. I went to sleep, woke up the next day and I was fine. So I didn't have any complaints. I didn't change anything, which I should have. I kind of was more aware of the amount of fat that I was eating, but that was about it. So, fast forward to June, I think, and I'm having a little bit of pain and discomfort on my gallbladder, but it didn't disappear. It wasn't very intense. It wasn't, you know, one of those high peak aggressive pains or anything. It was a very mild thing, but it didn't go away when I went to sleep as usual, and it lingered for a few days, and I was really concerned, and I was kind of like, maybe this is too late, but I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna go and book a surgeon, and if it's possible, remove this before it gets worse. And that's what I did. It was a very quick process for me. Fortunately, the surgeon had some available time. It was summer, that helped. So I got the consultation. He said, yeah, well, you either wait for it to go bad or you remove it, as your other doctor said. So do you want to remove it within 2 weeks? I have some time. And I was kind of like, okay. I didn't have time to think. And that, for me, maybe that's the best way to go about things, because if you don't know me, I have loads of anxiety. And that anxiety manifests itself mostly, not only, but the more acute way of it manifesting is through the worst case scenario in a health context. So if I'm going to go through surgery, something's going to go wrong and I'm not going to wake up. It's that kind of mentality. And I have people screaming inside my brain saying it's not going to go well at all times. So if I have a lot of time to think, sometimes I can push things back and just pretend they don't exist for a while, but they're still there lingering and fermenting. So it's kind of like, taking the band-aid off, it's a bit better for me, I think. So it was fine, and the doctor said it was a 1-day surgery. Hopefully it would be in and out the same day even, which is wow. It's not a very invasive surgery. It doesn't leave you completely, you know, deteriorated. So yeah, for me it wasn't in and out the same day, just because I had a bit of a reaction to the anesthesia, which my doctor could have warned me about, and I would be a lot clear-minded dealing with that when I started to get nauseous after a few hours from waking up from the surgery and thinking everything was fine and I'm gonna leave. I start walking around and then I start feeling nauseous, and of course I start to panic, thinking something is going wrong. And then the nurse said, well, usually doctors are a bit too optimistic. Most people usually have to stay overnight just to make sure that everything is fine. Most people react like you are to the anesthesia. And I'm kind of like, thanks. Completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Lack of information, to be honest. Another product that I was very curious about, the NYX bronzers, the buttermilk bronzers. Remember me telling you this looks very pink, and I'm very interested in them as blushes because I'm always on the hunt for the beigey, greygey, mauvey, cool tone, pinky blushes. Yes, yes, and these have a bit of sheen to them, which is not as elegant as the RMS. It's a bit more noticeable. It can emphasize a bit more texture on the skin, but to be honest, I don't mind. I really love them. This is all buttered up. This on me, this on, you will see, this is not, this is not a bronzer color on me at all. But anyway, it's very rosy and I really like it as a bronzer. They are very pigmented. People with heavy hands probably will not like it, but I absolutely adore them. I think they're one of the best things coming out of drugstore, high street this year, in my opinion. But anyway, and they have a downside. They have a strong smell of sweet things. Could go without them, but anyway. But listen, overall, surgery went amazingly well. Recovery was virtually painless, I would say. I came home the next day. I brought home medication, pain medication for 4 days. I started forgetting to take the medication after the second day because I just wasn't feeling pain. So it was it was a very quick and easy recovery. I was moving, I was walking, I was doing my everyday life, getting dressed by myself, taking showers by myself, you know, that kind of self-sufficiency that sometimes you take a little bit to get back, getting out of bed by myself. That kind of stuff was really it was immediate. So it was really nice. After a month, I started to reintroduce fats on my diet again. And a month and a half after the surgery, I went back to the gym. Back to the drawing board because it was surgery to my midsection, so my abs were done, but still back to the gym, which was very nice. Right? So yeah, then I had loads of traveling. Let's go into the eyes. I'm gonna do a few videos for you after this. That's the main point of this Get Ready With Me. So I want to be a bit more pucked up, I guess. So I'm gonna take, this is the Melt Slick Waterline eye pencil in, I think it's warm brown. Can't read, you know how it goes. My eyes are worse. So yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna take it along my lash line. Gonna do a little bit of basic lining and smudging, and then I'm gonna go with a very special nice eyeshadow. But yeah, after that I went back to work after about, I don't know, week and a half, 2 weeks after the surgery. I was able to go back to work just because As soon as I could use my breathing apparatus properly, I was fine and dandy. So it was just waiting for my breathing to go back to normal and being able to scream and all those fun things that I do with my voice on a daily basis. And then a friend of mine came to visit in August, and she lives in Paris. And she was saying, why don't you come and visit? And I was kind of like, listen, I love you, but Paris is very expensive. I can't pay for, you know, I can't pay. Staying there is very expensive, hotels and stuff. So I don't know when I'll be able to do that. And she said, no, you're not understanding me. You could come and stay in my house. And I was kind of like, oh. Okay. So then when can I go? And we realized there was a week between the Olympics and the Paralympics when nothing was happening. That's when I booked my trip there. And it was wonderful. Again, I already know Paris, so I didn't need to go to the places. I wanted to revisit a few places, eat some good food, be with my friend, and just go to the biggest Sephora in Europe, and and yeah, just kind of enjoy the place. The place that I went that I really wanted to go to that I'd never been to was the galleries, Dior galleries. I really wanted to see the exhibition. It's not extremely expensive. It's a big exhibition. It's about 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours, I think. And I loved it. I really loved it. So highly recommend if you're into that sort of thing. So now my base is done. Now we're gonna play. Look what I have here. Look what I have here. I know. I know. But listen, if you know me, you know that if there were a Danessa Myricks light work palette that I would go for, it would be this one, because it not only has a color story that I can really appreciate. I like most of the shades, and I can use most of the shades. But the gimmickiness of the freaking palette, the construction of this palette, this is worth the money, in my opinion, a bit more than the previous ones, because this has innovation on the actual packaging also. So I've been having some fun with it. When I go for a colorful look, which I still do, although the neutral look is all the rage, I like digging into this one. I really love it. I really love it. I'm gonna play with this shade here, and maybe this one, this purple here. But yeah, I was in London. I was in Paris. I was so happy to be able to do that, and be with my friend, and again take a few days and just walk around and take in the views. And it was a very kind of weird experience, because Paris was empty. It felt like a movie or a show, like an Emily in Paris kind of episode, where you have just the right amount of people around you, which is not that's not how Paris works. That's not Paris. But I was very fortunate to be able to have that experience, feeling that Paris was all for me, and just walking around and enjoying. And I was really happy, and I got to eat onion soup, which I love. I love loads of things in terms of food, but onion soup, and we had amazing sushi too. So yeah, loved it. Again, very fortunate. And then I had my yearly work trip. It's a work trip to Barcelona and to be the MC of a festival, of a Lindy Hop festival. And as usual, I arrived a day earlier so that I could go to and take in the metropolis a bit, and then I had this brush was dirty with something very, very glittery. Doesn't matter, glitter is on the way, dear. We take a shuttle bus to the beach where we have the festival, and it's the usual high stress 4 days in that I'm gonna just wet my brush. These eyeshadows have very little fallout. Do I want this? I think I do. Okay, it's fine. I was going for more pink, but now I'm going for more purple. Cool. But the stressful 4 days of that festival when I'm the MC, I'm always on edge because I only do this once a year. I don't have the opportunity to do it more often. So it's kind of like learning to ride a bike again in a way. But I always have so much fun. The people are so kind, and the stress kind of fades after a bit, but the first night, I'm always on edge, always on edge. But yeah, and after that, those were my proper vacations where I shut down and turned off everything, and I stayed for 5 days there on the beach. It's a very nice little town, very small town, very quiet. Nothing happens after, I don't know, 10, 11 p.m. You go to sleep. This is an old people kind of vacation. No crazy things. There's nothing to do. Everything is closed. And yeah, it's just very restful. Sadly, because this was a week later than usual, it was the second week of September. It rained, which was a different experience. I got to read a lot more than I usually do because I'm usually in the water, swimming literally with the fishes. And yeah, I'm very happy when I'm able to do that, so it's fine. Oof, this is so pretty. But why is it green? For me, this goes from turquoise to very strong purple. And then when I see it from your point of view, I see it green. This is, listen, multi-chromes, can't complain. But I didn't want green. I wanted something more flashy. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Please hold. Sitting here playing with colours. I miss this and chatting with you. But yeah, that was nice. I was able to, you know, that time I really was able to turn off and relax proper, you know. Yes, this is what I was looking for. I like this kind of piled on kind of look of so many different shades playing about. It looks really nice. It's this color here from the Angelica Nyqvist collab with Odenseye, the Little Ghost palette. I think they were selling the last bits of stock recently. I don't know if they're still available, but anyhow, I don't care. This is an excellent mascara. This is the Lash Extender by e.l.f. Nobody's talking about it. This is a tubing mascara. It makes my lashes look amazing. I already have another tube on the go. I love it. It's one of these kind of... Wait, yeah. It's one of these kind of applicators, and listen, I have nothing bad to say about this. Nothing bad to say. But yeah, where was I? I usually prefer to do, you know, a longer period of vacation so that I can sink into it, and instead of when my body is finally relaxing, I'm already being pulled out of it. So in that sense, that didn't happen. I had 3 days here, 4 days there, taking in the weekends and stuff. And then that week after the festival, but still I was very grateful to be able to, that final week was very important for me to be able to chill and relax. So yeah, that's what's been happening. Now it's October. It's still very hot in Lisbon. I hate it. It's too much. We've been within the 20s, 20 degrees. We've been above the 20s since, I don't know, March. It's too much. It's too much. We need chill, cool weather. We need not having too much climate change. Anyway, yeah, it's been kind of mellow in terms of work. I've been doing okay, and now a bigger project is coming in, a directing project again. So yeah, that will be fun. What should we do for lips? I just changed my lipstick. I wasn't enjoying the way it was going, and I just slapped on Balm Embrace, and I think it's Metropolis, the darker one from Lisa Eldridge. I still don't like the taste. It leaves on my mouth, but it was the closest thing that I had at hand that kind of fit what I was going for on my face. And also I tried to put my hair back into place because it was looking completely stupid. Anyway, I ramble throughout the whole video, of course, but I kind of lost track of everything by the end of it. But I wanted to come to a conclusion, which was I haven't been feeling the calling or being able to muster the will to come and sit down and record for you for several reasons, some of which I mentioned throughout this Get Ready With Me. Also, family life is complicated right now. We're hanging in there, but it's been a very hard struggle. But also, and I do not allow myself to disconnect completely from the ecosystem to which I belong, which is humanity. Humanity is crumbling, and the world is crumbling in a way in front of us, and in a way that feels more brazen and shameless. Things are happening in front of our faces, and we are being told to our faces that we are completely powerless to stop it, and it's very disheartening and frustrating. And because of that, I felt like, am I going to sit down and talk about lipsticks? It doesn't feel right. But at the end of the day, and I've had this kind of moment before, I think during the pandemic, when I think of what do I do and I want to disconnect a bit and take a breather, I come to YouTube and I watch people making content to keep me, distracted and entertained, and, take my head off of things. And that's kind of it's been my career, to entertain people and to bring some joy and lightheartedness to them also. So why stop now, right? So I'll try to record a few more videos and we'll see how it goes. I do have a new big job coming up for Christmas. That's how it goes. We start now to have it done by Christmas. So I don't know how that's going to go. But in the meantime, I'll try to record a few videos in a bunch and put them out there for you. And yeah, if you want to see something specific from me, reviews of the products that I've used or anything, just let me know in the comments below. Yeah. And that being said, after this huge ramble, thank you for spending your time on me. I hope I'll see you soon. Subscribe and comment and like if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next video. Bye.